Hey guys, Bob for Gaming back, and I just wanted to throw this little piece on the front of this video before we jump into the Season 4 wishlist. We did have the teaser trailer today for Season 4 of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and some things that were confirmed in that teaser trailer. I'm not going to go through the whole teaser, but the main image you'll see here shows that we have a couple confirmations here, which we'll go into more detail in this video. But we do have the confirmation of our two operators being Captain Price as well as Kyle Garrett, or Gaz, and then we also do have the confirmation of the two weapons, which I'll go into more depth and detail here in the video. Is going to be the modern day Galil, which is the Iwi Ace, and it appears to be either the Ace 31 or 32 based on the caliber. It's either going to be in 7.62 by 39. If it's 7.62 by 51 NATO, it's going to be the Ace 52 or 53, and if it's in 5.56 by 45 millimeter, it could be the Ace 21. So we'll have to wait and see what the calibers are for that. And we also have there, you see Kyle Garrett is holding the Vector. So we do have confirmation of those two weapons being the Vector and the Ace 21 or 31 or 52 based on the caliber. And then we also do have our operators being Captain Price and Kyle Garrett. Now, there's one more screenshot here that was sent to me by Mitchell here on Twitter that he pointed out, wondering if this was the G28. So that's another weapon we'll go into more depth here in the video. It's very hard to tell just from this little snapshot from the trailer today whether it is a G28 or just any other gun. It could be a Dragunov. Very odd angled here to tell, but it doesn't. I don't really recognize the rails on this. However, it doesn't really look like a G28 unless it's just not customized the way a G28 would typically look with the right scope on there as well. But the handguard on there looks pretty unique. I don't really know what weapon that is. It could be a Dragunov with a specific blueprint or something. We'll have to wait and see. But until then, let's go ahead and jump in the video here. This is the Season 4 wishlist. Hope you guys enjoy. Leave your comments down below. Hey guys, Marksman Rifle back today, bringing another video, and today we're going to be covering the Season 4 wishlist that I have. Now that we are approaching the end of Season 3, I've compiled a bit of a wishlist that I like to see for Season 4, or hopefully for the upcoming seasons beyond Season 4 as well. Just some minor things such as weapons, blueprints, Milsim Operators, things like that. So a lot of this, actually some of it is going to be repetitive from my original Season 2 wishlist that I had, because some of those still hold true today. But again, let's go ahead and get ready to. I'm going to start out with covering some of the leaked weapons that we had for Season 4. So again, these are just leaks. They're not confirmed as of yet, but I'm sure everybody's heard this as of now. I'll try and do the timestamps below. If you don't want to hear these, just check the timestamps. But again, I'm going to go through these leaked weapons first. So first off, based on the leaked weapons, the first one, which we discussed in our first video, so this really shouldn't be a shock for the Season 2 wish list, is going to be the HK G28. So initially in that video, I was asking for a 417. Now we have seen a gun like this before in Call of Duty Ghost, labeled as the MR28, which again at the time was based off the H&K 417. So one of the leaks for Season 4 did indicate that the HK G28, which is a derivative or a variant of the HK 417 battle rifle, would be coming to the game at some point. At least it was in the files. So based off this weapon, again, assuming we get this in Season 4, either way, I like this in one of the seasons, either Season 4 or 5 or upcoming as a mid-season weapon or something. But again, this weapon I think has the most possibilities of any weapon in the game. And when I initially heard this, I think I was more excited than any gun that we got to begin starting with this game before anything was released, or even post-launch weapons, because it has so much potential. So again, the G28, let's just assume we can create this into the HK 417. So what that is essentially a DMR firing 7.62 by 45 millimeter NATO rounds. So it's a battle rifle, designated Marksman Rifle. So we're going to start out, if we have the HK 417, there's a couple different possibilities we can make here, depending on the attachments they give us for this weapon, being the G28. So first off, we could do something like the 417 Assaulter, which again would give us the reduction in the barrel length, and we would also have the ability to go full auto with those 7.62 NATO rounds. And then we could do different variations with a 20-inch sniper-sized barrel on there to make a sniper variant of the 417. But mainly I want a G28 or the 417 in the DMR build for this, with being around a 16.5-inch barrel firing the 7.62 by 51 millimeter. Excuse me, I believe I said 45 millimeter. We want the 7.62 by 51 millimeter NATO rounds. That would come with a 20-round box mag. Now, based on that, again, I'm assuming that'll just be single fire by default. So if we get something like an Assaulter variant of this by reducing the barrel size to a 13-inch, I think that would have to obviously have a full auto capability on the weapon, whether it's a perk or locked into the barrel size on that. Now, whether or not they want to do that with the 7.62 is another question, but that's one possibility. Now, the next one here would be the H&K 416. So we could do a couple different variants. We'll go with the H&K 416A5. So this would be a caliber conversion for the G28 or the 417 to change the ammunition from the 7.62 by 51 NATO to the 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO rounds. So what that'll do is give us a different barrel size. So the 416 has a bunch of different variants that'll reduce the barrel size from, let's say, the base 16.5 for the 417 or the G28 to anywhere from a 9-inch up to a 20-inch, just depending on the variant that they want to cover for this weapon. So we're going to have the ammo conversion, then obviously we're going to need a full auto capability with the 5.56. So if we start out with the HK G28 or the 417 as just a battle rifle and 7.62 as select fire single shot only, I think that's good. Now if we swap the barrel size on this weapon, or they can do something similar to the M14, or I believe what we saw with the SKS, if you change the stock on the weapon, it changes the whole chassis of the weapon. And I think a change like that should lock a couple of attachments in place. So let's just say we were to select a different barrel size on this weapon that would be in line with a 416. I think by default, it should automatically change the ammo to fire the 5.56 by 45 millimeter, and it should also automatically apply a perk, or the barrel itself should automatically allow for full auto fire with the 5.56 by 45 millimeter rounds. So that would control the meta of the weapon, so you aren't able to do insane things with it, but it would also lock it in place to use it as intended. So you'd have the battle rifle as well as the assault rifle in the 5.56, which would be converted to full auto with one or maybe two specific barrels. I think would be a good idea. Again, that would control the meta of the weapon. Now, again, another conversion we could get out of this is the M27 IAR. So again, this is something that was supposed to replace the M249 SAR, the squad automatic weapon, which we saw in Season 3 as the Mark 9 Bruin. So again, this would be a 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO firing round. The barrel size here would need to be the 16.5-inch barrel. So it would be close to in line with the same barrel's length of the 417 or the HK G28, and we would have something either a 30 or a 40 to 45 round detachable box mag. So I think that's really something that I want to see. First off, just having a westernized, modern, designated marksman rifle added to the marksman rifle category besides the M14 would be very nice. I really have wanted something like a 417 or a G28 added to the game again. If they add the right attachments, we can create the HK 416 as well as the M27 IAR, and that would be something they could control the meta again by locking different attachments in place. By changing the barrel size, it automatically makes the weapon go full auto, as well as changes the ammo to the 5.56 by 45 from the original 7.62. So I think that's one possibility. Now, some of the other weapons here, the Galil was also leaked. Now, obviously, I'm hoping it's not the actual Galil, and given the teasers that we have for Season 4 so far, it seems to confirm that it is going to be a variant of the Ace. So the Ace, again, based on the Galil, is a modernized Galil from IWI, or Israeli Weapon Industries. So there's a lot of different variants for this weapon, being the Ace 23 and the Ace 21, which fire 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO, I believe, as well as another variant being the Ace 52, which fires 7.62 by 51 millimeter. And now there's also different variants that fire the 7.62 by 39, that Russian caliber. So again, there's a lot of different caliber conversion options for this. But the Ace 23 and the 21 would be the 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO rounds, being based on the barrel length for this weapon, either an assault rifle, or you would shorten the barrel down to basically be classified as a submachine gun, firing in the 5.56 by 45 millimeter. I guess in this case it would be a short barrel rifle. And then again, by changing the caliber conversion for that, we would get the 7.62 by 51, or maybe even the 39 millimeter, and we could make something like the Ace 52, or even the Ace 33, I believe, is the one that fires 7.62 by 51. So that would give us a nice modernized Galil there, being the Ace 23, 21, and perhaps the 52 in game. Again, that's going to be dependent on the attachments that they give us for that weapon, but that should be nice to see. Again, that is a rumored or a leaked weapon for Season 4, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Hopefully it is the modernized Ace as we saw, is what it appeared to be in the teaser images for Season 4 so far. Next up will be the Vector. So again, this one's been rumored for a long time. I'm not going to go too much into this. We did cover this in our Season 2 wish list initially. There's a bunch of different barrel lengths for this, ranging from 5.5 for an SBR variant to a 6.5, all the way up to a 16-inch or even an 18-inch barrel for this weapon. It fires the 45 ACP round. It can also be converted for a 9x19 Parabellum, 10mm auto, or even a 357 SIG round. So there's a lot of possibilities with the Vector. Everyone remembers that from Modern Warfare 2. I think that'd be a nice addition to the game and give us a nice new submachine gun to fill that role that we've really wanted to fire, that something that fires that 45 ACP that has a faster rate of fire versus the Striker 45. So hopefully that's added, and I think, again, based on the conversions that they add for this weapon, we should be able to have some nice different builds and variations with this. So next up, one of the next league weapons here is going to be the XM109, which is an anti-material rifle, which I'm not sure what this is going to be added, and whether it's, I have a feeling this is just going to be a random pickup in Warzone. It's very randomized, similar to the grenade launcher in Warzone. But whether or not it is or isn't, I think the Barrett, I'd like to see a conversion to change out the grenades that XM109 fires, to change it to the 50 caliber conversion to allow us to make the Barrett M82A2, which is, I believe, the variant that we saw in COD 4 and some of the other Modern Warfares in the past. And again, the XM109 is essentially based off of the M82A2 version of the Barrett 50 caliber weapon. So we'll have to see what they add this with, whether they even add it at all. But again, I know a lot of people have wanted a semi-auto 50 cal. We'll have to see how they balance that weapon. Another option would be to convert it or even add an M95, which is a bullpup 50 cal from Barrett. But again, that was canceled and actually replaced by the M82A2. So we'll have to see what they add. I think that'd be nice to have a semi-automatic 50 caliber rifle. But again, that balancing purposes, we'll have to see what they can do with that, especially going into Warzone. Having something semi-auto that would have to have really bad recoil wouldn't be easy to control, because if you can pop off a bunch of semi-auto 50 cal rounds from a sniper rifle, it could cause a meta issue. But again, we'll have to see what they do with that. I think that would be nice to see if they were able to do something like that and add that into the game. Now, next up, these are going to be just away from the leaks now. We're going to be covering some things that I would really like to see. And again, we've covered some of these for the Season 2 wishes. But first off, for the AK-47. Now, we had the Warsaw Blueprint this week as part of the Security Detail Bundle, which is really great. It allows us to essentially have an AK-74M if we do the right conversions, which I did cover in a video. So go ahead and check that out on the channel. But some things I noticed, and I've always had some gripes with the AK in this game, and playing with it more and more, I realize it definitely needs some buffs or some different attachments here and there. So first off, I would like to see, for the base AK-47, I would like to see a 60-round casket mag added to the weapon in 5.45 by 39mm. So again, there's those same rounds of the 74 fires, the AK-12, the RPK, 74s, etc. I like to get a 60-round casket mag. That's a real-life magazine that the AK-74 series of rifles have for the 5.45 by 39. It just needs more ammunition. The rate of fire is so slow with that, with the 5.45 conversion on there, that you need something to counterbalance it. So whether they do a rate of fire increase or more ammunition for the 5.45 to make it more viable. Using it in multiplayer as well as Warzone is just very frustrating. There's really no reason to use it over the 7.62 base ammunition for the AK, just because the AK has a stopping power with the 7.62 rounds. The 5.45 is weaker, still has a very slow rate of fire, and again, you're stuck with that 30-round magazine for something that should be, essentially, it's the Russian equivalent to the 5.56, so it should be performing better, in my opinion. Now, another thing I'd like to see, if they can't do the 60-round casket mag, would be the 45-round magazine, which we see on the RPK 74s. Again, that's 5.45 by 39mm. That would be a nice medium, I believe, between the 30 and the 60 rounds, so that would be an option. Another thing for the AK, in the 5.5 by 39mm, would be a recoil reduction and or a rate of fire increase. So I know the AK-74 series of rifles, especially even in game here with the 5.5 attachments, it's right in line with what it should be, 600 to 650 rounds per minute. So it's really pretty accurate, but again, it just is lacking something. So I think if they were to add a 60-round casket magazine or even the 45-round RPK 74 magazine in the 5.45 by 39, it would allow this weapon to be more usable with that ammunition conversion on the gun. Now, that being said, I still think we need a modernized AK in this game. That being, we've covered the AK-12 as well as the AK-15 conversions on this channel before, and as I've said in those videos, it's not really an AK-12, nor is it an AK-15 at all. It's really an AKM for the most part, with some discrepancies here and there. They take a lot of pieces from different AKs and kind of mix them together, but really what we need is a modernized AK. So there's two ways to do this. Obviously, first, I would really like to see an actual AK-12 in game. So the AK-12 is what's replacing the AK-74M series of rifles in Russia. Should be rolling out right now here in 2020. I believe they started producing and distributing them to select groups in the Russian military in 2019. So this is a modernized version of the Russian rifle, brings it much more in line to a westernized type rifle. Again, it's got the Picatinny rails on top, a free-floating barrel. At base, I believe it's a 16.5-inch barrel. It fires just like the AK-74Ms. It fires the 5.45 by 39 millimeter rounds. So again, having an ammo conversion, whether we can have a 60-round or a 45-round magazine for that ammo, would be really nice. It has something very similar to a Magpul, like an M4 stock on it, but it's actually a custom Russian stock on the rifle itself there. Again, free-floating barrel, like I said. And the dust cover, as I said, is replaced with a Picatinny rail, so you're able to put attachments right on the top of the dust cover. The rear sight mount is actually moved back to the top of the receiver or the back of the dust cover there to allow for a better sight picture. The front sight is moved to, I believe, the beginning of the gas block where the Picatinny rail ends. So they made a lot of advancements with this rifle. Again, we have bits and pieces of this in the game. We have an AK-12 pistol grip, but I would really like to see an actual AK-12 added, and that would be in 5.45 by 39. Now in Call of Duty Ghost, they did have an AK-12 prototype in the game, which was released in 2011, was called Ghost, I believe, and that was around the time the original AK-12, based on the 200 series of the 200 platform AKs, was in trials essentially. So if they had it in game back then, and again it was being the prototype version, but they had it in game in 2011 for COD Ghost, I'd really like to see them come back and add an updated AK-12 in this game for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Now, significant changes took place since that prototype version, which again was based on the AK-200 platform. The new version of the AK-12, AK-15 is based on the more proven AK-400 platform, and again it does have something similar to the AK-107 built into it, which is a counterbalance system to reduce the recoil. So all around, it's a much better weapon. And given that the meta in the game right now is a Grau, M4, and even the M13, I think the AK really needs something. So that being said, I'd really like to see the AK-12 added in game. An actual up-to-date, brand new AK-12 would just be beautiful, and that would probably be the only weapon I would ever use again. But if they can't do that, I would really like to see, again, the buffs I said for the AK-47, but I would also like to see a blueprint for the Alfa AK-47. So the Alfa AK-47, again, I went over this in my Season 2 wish list. This is essentially an AK-74 series of AK platform weapons, which is modernized by the Spetsnaz group to perform better. So it's basically an upgraded kit for the AK-74M. They put much more westernized attachments on it. Again, firing 5.5 by 39 millimeter. You can also do it based on whatever platform rifle you're using. For the AKs, it would fire 7.62. But this blueprint would give us some more westernized or modernized attachments for this AK. Again, mainly being something with like Picatinny rail dust cover. So a Texas weapon system dust cover for the pick rail would replace the standard rib dust cover that we see on a lot of the AKs in game right now. A Zenit RP1 charging handle, which we saw on one of the PP19 Bison blueprints, which I covered the other day for the, I believe it was the Chakawala blueprint, some crazy name there. But again, that had a Picatinny rail dust cover as well as the Zenit RP1 charging handle. So if they can do it for a blueprint for the PP19, there's really no reason they can't do it for the AK-47. Now, other things like that would be different optics could be added. Again, that's personal preference. Operative foregrips for underbarrel would be fine on the blueprint. A stock, now the stock, typically something like a Magpul CTR would be nice. That's typically what a lot of the Russians run on that. A laser, I'd like to see like a PAQ-15 or even a Wilson Raptor light, just a big fat tack laser I want to see on there. I want something very very tactical and Milsim-esque, and something, a cosmetic change to the tack laser would be really nice. Again, and then just particular different changes to the muzzle. We get like a crank flash suppressor, a Zenit rail on the barrel. So Russian-made Zenit rails. Again, that's basically a quad rail made by Russia. It really completes the weapon, similar to what we see. We have a Spetsnaz Elite barrel in this game for the AK right now, but again, that's based on the Midwest Industries M-Lock handguard. So I'd really like to see something like a actual Russian-made Zenit rail, and again, that would fire the 5.5 or the 7.62 millimeter. It would just be a blueprint for the base AK, but it would bring it more up to par with a modernized AK platform versus the ones we see in game right now, which we really need a Picatinny rail dust cover. That's personal preference. I love the AK platform. I think it's a beautiful weapon, but I really want to see a modernized version, especially something like a actual AK-12 buttstock, or even a Magpul CTR buttstock on the weapon would be very nice as well. Now, that's what I would like to see. Again, that would be a blueprint for the AK. Given I would like to see those buffs I went over as well. That would really make a much nicer AK experience when you're using the rifle. Now, moving on, those are basically all the weapons I had. The next up, and the really last thing I'll cover in this video, is going to be the Milsim Operator. So I know we had a bunch of Milsim Operators for the Coalition forces here in Season 3, and from what I've heard, just rumors, no confirmation, but I heard Season 4 was going to be very Milsim focused. So if that's the case, I'd like to see a lot of Milsim weapon blueprints. Would be really great, especially to go along with additional Milsim Operators. So I'd like to see Milsim Operators specifically more for the Allegiance, as well as some for the Coalition. But we got more for the Coalition in Season 3, very few for the Allegiance. But I'd like to see operators added for the Allegiance being German KSK. We could do Polish Groom for Coalition, Navy SEALs for Coalition. Now, we got the Security Detail Bundle, which had the Protectorate Blueprint for Bale, which was a great modernized Spetsnaz skin. I'd like to see additional Spetsnaz skin added for the base operator, or even the additional Spetsnaz operators to make them more in line with Milsim Operator skins for the Russian Alpha Group. I'd also like to see Norwegian FSK. Again, it's just special forces for that country. And even something like we have these South Korean special forces that we had for the Coalition. I'd like to see China or Chinese PLA SOF. It's their special forces group there in China. I think would be very nice too. Again, there's a whole variety you could add. Now for the Navy SEAL, I'm just picturing something like a guy, something like D-Day with a big beard. I think would be really nice. You could add Delta in there. I'd really like to see a heavily focused Milsim operator pack basically for the base operators, as well as some of the other operators in game unlocked via battle pass, or even I'm fine with some in the store as well. But just space it out. I'd like to get a good amount of those operators. Blueprints should be free, and then maybe for the existing operators, some of them should be in store bundles with what I would really like to see have those bundles come with actual Milsim weapon blueprints as well. And again, that goes perfectly. You could have the Alfa AK in there, or an AK-12 in there as well. Would just be great. So that's really what I would like to see. Now, the rumored operators, supposedly we're going to have Price in this season, Captain Price, so I'd really like to see the custom Kilo one for one of the HK-433 that he uses in the game. And you see some of them in the trailers. He's got a custom stock on there. I'd like to see something like that. Just more attachments added to the weapon. You also have the option of something like for the Scar or the Mark 17, adding that 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO, so we can convert that from the Scar Heavy to the Scar Light, or the Mark 16 would be very nice. We'd have a couple different variations that we could make if we had that caliber conversion. The 9mm for the Ram 7 would allow us to make an actual true MTAR X. That'd be nice as well. So there's a lot of different options here. But again, I don't want to make this video too long. It's already around 20 minutes. Let me know what you guys think down below. This is my Season 4 initial wish list. Let me know what you guys want to see. What assault rifles, what other weapons, sniper rifles you were looking forward to, what kind of blueprints you want to see, what different Milsim operators you want to see in the comments down below. I'd really like to hear what your feedback is. And then Season 4 is starting next Tuesday or Wednesday based on what their release schedule is. So we don't have too long to wait. We should be getting teasers end of this week, I'm assuming, or very early next week by Monday, to show us what the roadmap is for Season 4, what the weapons are for Season 4, and hopefully some Milsim operator info. So stay tuned for that. I'd like to speculate here. You guys leave your comments down below, and then we'll revisit this when we have the actual Season 4 information dropped later this week or early next. But that is the Season 4 wish list. I am Buckner Gaming. Until next time, Buckner Gaming.